Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 2, Book 26, number 676. Narrated by Nafi. Ibn Umar said, I have never missed the touching of these two stones of Kaaba, the black stone and the Yemenite corner, both in the presence and the absence of crowds, since I saw the Prophet touching them. I asked Nafi, did Ibn Umar use to walk between the two corners? Nafi replied, he used to walk in order that it might be easy for him to touch it, the corner stone. Volume 2, Book 26, number 677. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. In his last Hajj, the Prophet performed tawaf of the Kaaba riding a camel and pointed a bent-headed stick towards the corner, black stone. Volume 2, Book 26, number 678. Narrated by Salim bin Abdullah that his father said, I have not seen the Prophet touching except the two Yemenite corners, i.e. the ones facing Yemen. Volume 2, Book 26, number 679. Narrated by Zayd bin Aslam that his father said, I saw Umar bin al-Khattab kissing the black stone and he then said to it, had I not seen Allah's apostle kissing you, stone, I would not have kissed you. Volume 2, Book 26, number 680. Narrated by Az Zubair bin Arabi. A man asked Ibn Umar about the touching of the black stone. Ibn Umar said, I saw Allah's apostle touching and kissing it. The questioner said, but if there were a throng, much rush, round the Kaaba and the people overpowered me, what would I do? He replied angrily, stay in Yemen, as that man was from Yemen. I saw Allah's apostle touching and kissing it. Volume 2, Book 26, number 681. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet performed tawaf of the Kaaba while riding a camel, and whenever he came in front of the corner, he pointed towards it, with something. Volume 2, Book 26, number 682. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet performed tawaf of the Kaaba riding a camel, and every time he came in front of the corner, having the black stone, he pointed towards it with something he had with him and said takbir. Volume 2, Book 26, number 683. Narrated by Urwa. Aisha said, the first thing the Prophet did on reaching Mecca was the ablution, and then he performed tawaf of the Kaaba, and that was not Umrah alone, but Hajj al-Qiran. Urwa added, later Abu Bakr and Umar did the same in their Hajj. And I performed the Hajj with my father Az Zubair, and the first thing he did was tawaf of the Kaaba. Later I saw the Muhajirin, emigrants, and the Ansar doing the same. My mother, Asma, told me that she, her sister, Aisha, Az Zubair and such persons assumed ihram for Umrah. And after they passed their hands over the black stone corner of the Kaaba, they finished the ihram, i.e. after doing tawaf of the Kaaba and Sahi between Safa Marwa. Volume 2, Book 26, number 684. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. When Allah's apostle performed tawaf of the Kaaba for Hajj or Umrah, he used to do ramal during the first 3 rounds, and in the last 4 rounds he used to walk. Then after the tawaf he used to offer 2 rakat and then performed tawaf between Safa and Marwa. Volume 2, Book 26, number 685. Narrated by Ibn Umar. When the Prophet performed the tawaf of the Kaaba, he did ramal during the first 3 rounds, and in the last 4 rounds he used to walk, and while doing tawaf between Safa and Marwa, he used to run in the midst of the rain-water passage. Volume 2, Book 26, number 686. Narrated by Salama. The wife of the Prophet, I informed Allah's apostle that I was ill. So he said, perform the tawaf while riding behind the people. I did so, and at that time the Prophet was praying beside the Kaaba and reciting Surah at-Tur. Volume 2, Book 26, number 687. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. While the Prophet was performing tawaf of the Kaaba, he passed by a person who had tied his hands to another person with a rope or string or something like that. The Prophet cut it with his own hands and said, "Lead him by the hand." Volume 2, Book 26, number 688. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet saw a man performing tawaf of the Kaaba tied with a string or something else. So the Prophet cut that string. Volume 2, Book 26, number 689. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. In the year prior to the last Hajj of the Prophet, when Allah's apostle made Abu Bakr the leader of the pilgrims, the latter, Abu Bakr, sent me in the company of a group of people to make a public announcement. No pagan is allowed to perform Hajj after this year, and no naked person is allowed to perform tawaf of the Kaaba. See Hadith number 365 Volume 1. Volume 2, Book 26, number 690. Narrated by Amra. We asked Ibn Umar, "May a man have sexual relations with his wife during the Umrah before performing tawaf between Safa and Marwa?" He said, Allah's apostle arrived in Mecca and circumambulated the Kaaba 7 times. Then offered 2 rakat behind Maqam Ibrahim, the station of Abraham, then performed tawaf between Safa and Marwa. Ibn Umar added, "Verily, in Allah's apostle you have a good example." And I asked Jabir bin Abdullah the same question. And he replied, "You should not go near your wives, have sexual relations, till you have finished tawaf between Safa and Marwa." Volume 2, Book 26, number 691. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet arrived at Mecca and performed tawaf of the Kaaba and Sahi between Safa and Marwa, but he did not go near the Kaaba after his tawaf till he returned from Arafat. Volume 2, Book 26, number 692. Narrated by Salama. The wife of the Prophet, I informed Allah's apostle about my illness. Through other sub-narrators, Salama narrated that when Allah's apostle was at Mecca and had just decided to leave Mecca, while she had not yet done tawaf of the Kaaba, and after listening to her, the Prophet said, "When the morning prayer is established, perform the tawaf on your camel while the people are in prayer." So she did the same and did not offer the 2 rakat of tawaf until she came out of the mosque. Volume 2, Book 26, number 693. Narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet reached Mecca, circumambulated the Kaaba 7 times and then offered a 2 rakat prayer behind Maqam Ibrahim. Then he went towards the Safa. Allah has said, "Verily, in Allah's apostle you have a good example."